everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, your expert life strategist. I'm your business consultant. I am Karena Calhoun. Super excited for another amazing episode as we wind down the year. Where has the time gone? So, I am super excited to be talking to Miss Amy Thurman. Amy, how are you doing today?
Hi, Karina. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm doing really, really well. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. Amy, tell us where in the world you are.
I am in the United States in Oklahoma, right kind of in the middle in the southern part. And it's so hot. Literally, I'm like melting. It's so hot over here.
Oh my goodness, I fully understand that. So, Amy, again, welcome to the show. I have been itching to have a conversation with you. I've been excited, anticipating just all kinds of good stuff about talking with you. So, how are you loving on the world around you these days?
You're so sweet. Thank you so much for those kind words. I will start with I introduce myself as I'm Amy Thurman and I live with a broken neck because in 2014, I was working at a major university, doing everything for everyone, taking the kids everywhere. And I passed out and landed on my face on the hardwood floor. The impact sheared my brainstem, caused a traumatic brain injury, and it actually broke my neck, but that went undetected for 6 months. So I was living with a broken neck for 6 months, not knowing what was happening. It was 9 months before I could have surgery, but the damage was so extensive that I continued to live with a broken neck. And so the first year after that accident, I literally had to lay flat in a bed for 23 hours of every day. I could not do anything for myself. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't hear or see correctly. It's an emotional thing for me, so I'm likely to get emotional while I share this. But I had to wear a covering over my eyes. I had to wear earplugs. I could barely speak above a whisper. And I literally, for 9 months, I had to have help going to the restroom. I went from doing everything for everyone to the very next day, I could not even take care of myself. And I completely missed my daughter's senior year of high school. I missed my son's freshman year of high school. And I missed my little guy's fourth year of life. Those are such important times for kids, and they need their mama during that time. And I could not be there. I could not barely even talk to them. And so, as you can imagine, I went into a deep, deep, dark place that I would never wish on anyone. And I began to pray. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that I would die because I was not living, I was merely existing. And I knew that I had enough medication to make it happen. And I fully planned to do that. Excuse me. And then I had this moment of clarity where I remember thinking, you know what? Maybe dying isn't the answer. Maybe I don't have to die. Maybe I can choose to fight instead. Maybe I can choose to fight to get better. And if I do get better, maybe I can use my experience to help other people. And so in that moment, instead of fighting to die, I chose to fight to live with the intention of using my story and my experience to help other people. And that's what I'm doing. I After I started to get better, I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn everything. It's taken it's been 9 years now, but I have a lot of autoimmune issues. That accident came with a lot of other health issues. And so I have to be super careful what I put in my body, but I also have to be careful what I put on my body. And so I found a company which ended up being like 2 hours from me, which is wild, but they offer clean, anti-aging, smudge-proof cosmetics and skincare that literally they don't smudge or smear. They last up to 18 hours and they're good for your skin. And so I began getting involved with that company. And after 7 months in, they heard my story and asked me to share my story on stage in front of over 2,000 women. So I was able to develop my story and then share it, which was terrifying. It was terrifying to share it to over 2,000 women. That experience changed my life, not only developing and sharing my story, but the messages I continue to get from people who were there or who were not even there, who message me and say, I wasn't there, but I heard that it was great. Can you send me the link to watch it? They tell me that my story is changing their lives as well. And so I thought, you know what? I found a power within myself that I didn't know was there. I had to go through all of this, not had to. I got to go through all of this because I consider it a blessing now. I was able to go through all of this and find this power that's deep inside me that I didn't know was there. And I'm using it to help others find their power within too. So I created a system to help people develop their stories and be able to share it with others if they want to. And it involves 100 different emotions. I walk us through 100 different emotions that I've categorized into 10 stages. And sorry, long story long, the way I'm living on the world right now is I'm doing a live every day called 100 Days, 100 Emotions. And I'm having someone come on and share their story of when they have experienced that emotion and what they have learned from it. Because our emotions have a purpose, they're there to teach us something. So I want to help people learn that our emotions are not bad. We need to allow them to surface, we need to feel them, and we can actually learn from them. And so that's what I'm doing right now to help love on the world and to use my story to help other people.
I just am so amazed. First and foremost, so very, very grateful and thankful that you changed your mind from wanting to die to wanting to live and fight. But not only live and fight, but within your fighting, you're fighting with and for other people. And I'm extremely grateful for that. Um, your story is something that is absolutely amazing to hear. And there's so many questions, so many thoughts that come up. I want to just kind of go back, and you talked about you were at work one day and you just passed out. Do you know why you passed out?
It took them 6 years to figure out that I have, it's called dysautonomia or POTS. It's my autonomic nervous system doesn't work the way it should. And so my blood pressure drops out and I pass out sometimes. It
Oh my
affects a
goodness.
lot of other areas in the body too, but that's the way that it affected me that day.
So when you passed out and your neck was broken, so in my really, I don't know how else to say this, but in my ignorance, when I hear someone say my neck was broken or their neck was broken, it immediately makes me think that you can't move, you can't do anything, and you're probably close to dead. Okay. So when I see you and you're, moving around and all of these great things, and how does that work? How does it work that you have a broken neck, but you're still mobile?
It's funny. My mom, when I was a kid, would tell me, "You're so hard-headed." I think determined is a better word for it because it's really a determination. Someone told me the other day, and a medical professional said that she has never seen anyone who had a sheared brainstem that survived it. And a doctor told me that had, because what I landed like right here on the side of my face, just right next to my nose. My head was turned enough that it landed right there somehow. The doctor said had my head been turned just a fraction of an inch, that it would have, I landed on my nose would have been shoved into my
Mm.
brain, and that likely would have been the end of it. But I had to go through a process of forgiving my doctors because I knew that they were doing the best that they could at the time. They were not trained to look for the injury I had. And in all honesty, my head pain was so severe. I literally could not lift my head up off the pillow without it feeling like there was a train sitting on it. And so their focus was, why is her head hurting? How can we relieve this head pain? But they didn't think to look at my neck. They were just thinking, what is the problem with her head, the pain in her head. And so I did go through that process of forgiving them, and realizing they did the best they could at the time. They weren't trained to look for the injury that I had, and so I can only hold my head up for a few hours at a time. I have to rest a lot. I get fatigued very easily, and it's challenging. I do run my business a lot from my bed because I have to lay flat to rest my neck. But I went from laying in a bed, almost a year, 23 hours a day, to now I can drive, I can do things on my own, I can have a little business that I help other people. And it's just so amazing to me. And it's people have told me so many times they don't know how I do it. And I think it's just that determined spirit of, I'm just not going to give up. I'm going to just keep going and keep going. And I think a lot of it too is that was taken away from me. Like I couldn't do anything for nearly a year. And so now that I can do something, it's like I want to do it. I want to push and do more and more and more because now I can do it. And so that comes into play too when we're talking about, being able to do what I do. I think a big reason is because it was all taken away from me for so long. And I missed it. I'm such an independent person. I don't like people doing things for me. And all of that was stripped away. I had to depend on other people for a whole year. And so I think that makes a big difference too.
So, Amy, how does being stripped of anything that you've ever known, helping others, serving others, really being that superwoman, being stripped of all of that, and then having to lay there flat in despair, and I'm sure depression,
Mhm.
and then one day saying, no more, I'm done with this, I'm getting up. And I'm sure it wasn't as easy as that, but we're, packaging it for,
Right.
lack of a better term, but we're packaging it as such that you said no more. And then there was that process of you going forward, moving forward, and literally getting up. You hear people figuratively talk about getting up, but you literally got up and then moved forward. And now, like you said, you run your business from your bed, but you run your business. So, how
Right.
does that translate to now what you do in your business? I know you talked about the 100 emotions, but tell us what you do even outside of that in your business that helps other people. And who are you looking to help? Because listen, if you ever needed anyone that, this is for those that are listening, if you've ever needed anyone that can tell you with certainty you can do it, and it's not just lip service, Amy is the one. Amy is definitely the one. And it's not a condescending, you can do it. It's a been there, done that. Now let me show you how you can do it. And see, that's the difference in what I see out in the entrepreneurial landscape. So I'm more inclined to hear you in this noise out here
Mhm.
because I see what you've done. I see you. So how does that translate into your business? What are you offering? Who are you looking for?
I will start with before the accident, I was an educator at a major university and a social worker. So I love helping people. It's just part of who I am. And so, like you said, it was stripped away from me. I went from helping people to I couldn't even help myself. And so, in that moment when I decided, no more, this something has to stop here. I've got to switch the gears. And so, what happened in that moment was all of this negativity was flooding in my head. All I wanted to do was have the life that I had before. I wanted to be the person I was before. I wanted to be able to do the things that she could do before. And side note, I didn't even like that version of myself, but that's all I knew. And so I wanted to fight to get back to that person because that's where I was comfortable. But I knew that I could not get better going along the path that I was going with all that negativity going around in my head. So I knew that I know not only had to get rid of it, but I had to replace it with something. And so I had someone load up. I think at that time we had those little iPods, put earbuds in my ear, turn it down real low so that I could handle it, and pull up audiobooks or podcasts. I began listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins, Rumi, all of those luminaries. And that's when I was introduced to Rumi, to this quote by Rumi, which I have based my business name off of. And it goes like this: Ye who seek God apart, that which you seek, thou art. If you wish to seek the beloved's face, polish the mirror and gaze into that space. So my business name is called Polish the Mirror because that tells me that every answer I seek can be found within. Our souls know the way. Our souls know what's best for us. We have to be willing to look inside and ask our soul, what message do you have for me today? But we don't. Because when we do that, we see the ugly, we see the things that have happened, we see the trauma, we see the things that we push down and don't want others to see. But we have to be willing to allow those things to surface and deal with them, to learn from them. And so that's what I began to do in that bed, flat. All of this introspection I began to do with all of these emotions that I was feeling, I began to let them surface and to be able and to start looking inside for the answers. And so that's what led me to creating this emotion series that I'm doing. But my program, I call it Your Story in Stages, because we do mirror work where I have taken those 100 emotions, excuse me, and I've put them into 10 different categories. And I have the categories are based on the emotional frequency because everything has a vibration. We all are vibrating, everything is vibrating at a specific frequency. Emotions have different vibrational frequencies. Some of them are lower, some of them are higher. And so I created this chart and put these emotions based on their vibrational frequencies in different categories, stages 1 to 10. And I walk, it's 10 weeks. We walk through each stage. We talk about the stage 1 is very, very low. So it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of stuff we don't want to see, but we bring that up and we journal about it. And we talk about how that has affected our lives and how we can use it as good, because a lot of the trauma and the challenges that we go through can be our best teachers, can be our greatest teachers. We learn so much from the yuck and the icky that we don't want people to see. And so we walk through that chart. I have an emotional frequency chart that's free on my website. If you'd like to offer, I'd like to offer that to your
So
audience.
tell us how to get to your website, because I mean I am just absolutely floored. There are just some key things that you've said that I want to kind of backtrack to. And in a second I'll let you tell us how to find your website. But you said, Amy, that you wanted to get back to the person that you were, but you didn't even like that person. And so that just makes me think of, it's that comfort zone that
Mhm.
so many people settle in, and it's not even fun. It's just because it's comfortable. It's because of what we've known.
Right.
But what I've been trying to teach folks, Amy, is that we've got to come out of that comfort zone and go into our power zone, because that power zone is where we can absolutely flourish. But more than flourishing, we can impact those around us, because as you've already said, we have inside of us everything that we need. We've just got to be willing to pull it out. Like you said, do that introspection. And so I am just like, I cannot tell you, on the inside, I am literally like doing somersaults and cartwheels, because this is something that just to hear you say that you know you didn't even like the old way, but you wanted to go back to that old way. And that is so much of what we deal with on a daily basis. So tell us how to get to your website, because I just have a feeling that there's so many people listening that need to get to you ASAP. I mean, immediately. They changed that term in corporate America to as soon as practical. No, no, no. We need you to get to Amy as soon as possible.
That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much, Karina. My website is www.getamyshelp. getamyshelp.com. That's getamyshelp.com. And that emotion frequency chart is at the on the free tab. So just go to getamyshelp.com/free and you can download that, and it just shows the 10 stages. But as part of the program, I walk you through and help you learn how to live at the higher stages, so that our perspective and our motivation is at a higher level instead of living down in the muck and the mire. And so people who feel like something's missing in their lives, feel like there's more to life than this, surely this is not all that life is about. That's what we do in this program, is I help you figure out what is happening. You're living in the lower level emotions is what's happening. And so we walk
Yes.
through how to live at the higher level. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, Amy, tell us briefly, and after you tell us this, I want you to be thinking about any last words of wisdom that we can just take and run with. But tell us, when someone says, I need to get Amy's help, getamyshelp.com. What is the next step? So we get to your website. Is there a consultation? Is there a discovery call? What happens?
Yes, there's a link there for you to book a call with me, because I like to start with that, because in all reality, I can't help everyone. Not everyone is at the stage where they're ready for my help. You have to be willing to go deep within. You have to be willing to be vulnerable and to look inside. And if you're not there yet, then it's just not the right time for you. So I like to start with a call. We talk through these. I ask you some questions, kind of get to know you and see if we're a good fit, if I really feel like I can help you. Because I'm not just going to put you through the program to put you through the program. I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. So yes, we start with a call and then we go from there.
Oh, so good. And I really appreciate the fact that you say you cannot help everyone. You're not just going to put them through the program, because we do find that so often in the entrepreneurial world that people are just looking to get people in and out. And so I really appreciate your transparency in that and saying, listen, I might not be your person.
Yeah.
So awesome for that. And any last words of wisdom that you want to leave with us?
I want people to know that you have a power within you. It's there. You may not have been able to find it yet, but it's there. You can access it. And you are worthy just because you exist. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to make people like you. You don't have to change who you are to be worthy. You are worthy just because you exist. I wanted to get back to that person that I didn't like. But you know what? I love this person that I am now. After all of the pain and trauma that I have been through, I am living my best life right now. And so just because you're going through some things that maybe you feel like my life isn't right, there's something wrong with it, you still have a power. You're still worthy just because you exist. And I want people to understand that, that it's such an important thing to know that you keep going, don't give up, don't stop, because you will eventually find the path that you're intended to be on.
I love that. Thank you so much, Amy, for sharing your life with us and your journey. But more importantly, thank you for sharing your fight with us,
Mm.
because that's really what it boils down to. You are sharing your fight with the world, and you're loving on the world in such an amazing way, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you so very much. We do consider you a friend of the show. So we'll probably have you back again. Be on the lookout. We'll probably have Amy back again. So, folks, this has been another amazing episode of Go Be Great. I am your host, Coach Karena Calhoun, and I will see you all on the flip side. Bye for now.